Hi, girls. Welcome back to Holy Honey Podcast. My name is Rebecca Castaneda, and I am your host for today. Girls, how y'all doing? It's Friday. It's the end of the month. I can't believe that this year has gone by so fast. The fact that we're already done with a quarter of the year is crazy. It's so crazy to me. And it just goes to show that like time is gonna fly no matter if you're doing something, if you're being consistent. And thank you, Jesus, we're being consistent with this podcast. But or if you're not doing anything, I mean, either way, time is gonna fly. So let this just be a reminder, like, do what you have to do. Those goals you set in January, don't forget about them. Don't act like just because you haven't really done anything so far that it doesn't matter anymore. You can get those goals out again and zero in, get serious again. And today's episode, I don't know why I went on a motivational tangent there a bit in the beginning, but today's episode is going to be about modesty, and I guess my modesty journey, you can say. And the reason why I'm doing this theme or topic today is because this week I have officially moved forward with my modesty journey. And you're probably wondering, what does that even mean, Rebecca? What do you mean forward? What do you mean? um and I can honestly say I get why they call it a journey, because I guess you can always grow and evolve in modesty. And I'll be completely honest, I'm gonna be completely honest. Sorry, I didn't finish my sentence. I was gonna move on. I'm gonna be completely honest. In the beginning of my Jesus journey, right, and my just being, having understanding of the gospel, modesty was never really a big area for me. The Lord didn't really, not that the Lord didn't care, but that wasn't an area the Lord targeted in my heart, in my mind first. But modesty is extremely important to the Lord, and I'm learning that every year now, more and more. And I'm going to take y'all through a little story time, testimony time. And I have my testimony episode. So it's not going to be like that. It really is going to be about the whole modesty area or part of it in my own life. And if you've listened to my testimony episode, it would be good, because then you're going to have a bit of context of why maybe I dressed the way I dressed and just other things, right? But I'll mention them to make sure you guys aren't completely lost, right? Or no, or maybe I shouldn't mention it, right? So that makes you go listen to that episode. No, I'm just kidding. I won't do that to y'all. But today we're starting episode 36, modesty, and let's do this. Okay. So back in I was gonna say back in 1998, you get the first moments of my life that you did not ask for. But back in 2018, when the Lord saved me, your girl, she wore whatever she wanted. And I still wore skirts though at the same time. So I guess, even to back up even more, I grew up in a Pentecostal church. So it was already something that was taught to me ever since I was a baby, because I grew up in church, that as a girl you wear skirts and you're modest because that's what you do. And my mom, she wore skirts, and I went to a church and everybody wore skirts, and modesty was very important. Now, did I always wear skirts as a child? Yes. Did I always wear skirts as a teenager? No. Okay, and we're going to start there, because you guys are really getting story time, okay? Because, and it's important that I tell you the story time, because it's going to show you why I didn't. It's going to explain some things, right? So, teenage years, I remember just growing up and always wanting to be with my brothers, and always wanting to play with them outside, always wanting, every time they played basketball, I was there. And I would always wear their clothes. I would wear their basketball shorts. I would wear their joggers. I would wear their big t-shirts. And especially when it was cold, during the December, New Year's time, Christmas time, my family always did like a firework sell. We had like a trailer, and we worked for this company, and we would sell fireworks, and it would be cold. So I would always wear my sweats and my joggers. And it didn't really matter that I guess I was around people in public, or it didn't really matter to me that I would be playing outside with my brothers, in those earlier teenage years. It didn't really matter to me. I didn't really see the big deal, because ultimately in my mind, I was like, well, I'm going to be running and jumping, and honestly, this is more comfortable. Did I ever really think about it as this is more modest? No, it was really just a matter of this is more comfortable. And I didn't really care or think about what people would think. I think it was also because I was just young, and when you're a teen, you don't know, you don't care, right? But I will say something, my parents never really made a big deal out of that. And maybe it was just one of those areas in their lives that they weren't super firm about, but my parents never really made a big deal about it. I truly believe that they didn't see it as something that was, how do you say it? Like, I don't know. I guess just the standard really wasn't there, because I truly don't remember my parents ever making a big deal out of it. Because I believe it's because it was like basketball shorts and it was joggers. Maybe if I would have wore like leggings that, were a bit more tight to my body, maybe they would have said something, but they did not care, since I truly believe it was because of that reason, because it wasn't as tight. And they understood that I wanted to play with my siblings, and they allowed it. And they allowed it all those teenage years. And then eventually I got older, and I still thought that was normal. And then it got to a point where I was now 20 or 18, 19, all those years. I started going to the gym, and your girl started wearing leggings, because I've been wearing joggers and stuff, and I didn't really care. The Lord saves me. I don't really change that about me. I still go to the gym with my leggings that are super, tight and exposing everything. And I'm growing in the Lord. The Lord's doing so much in my heart. It gets to like the second year that I'm walking with the Lord, and I do start to feel a bit more convicted, because at this point, my leggings, I don't know. I guess you realize that, okay, I am showing my butt, and I can see how I could be a stumbling block to someone, how me showing off my body could be a stumbling block, and I shouldn't do that. So in my mind, it wasn't so much even for the sake of me being obedient, for having, I guess, respect for myself, or I don't know what the right way to say that would be, or honor for my own body, with covering myself for me, and like obviously for the Lord. But it was more from a place of, I know people struggle with lust. Like was struggling with lust a lot at that time. So in my heart, I knew like, oh dang, I don't want to make someone like have a harder battle, because I'm out here exposing my body, and I understand how lust is. I understand how like you can be triggered, like, so I really did feel for my neighbor in that sense. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll start wearing a little flannel or whatever. But your girl, I was still showing off like the front part of my legs, and I didn't care. Like my quads, they were like growing, and everybody would tell me my quads were big, and I had nice legs. So honestly, going to the gym now for, at that point, probably 3 years, I had like a little pride, or I had a pride in my legs, okay, and in my body. And I would wear the sports bras. Sometimes you would find me posting myself with the sports bra and my legs and the side pose and the butt look, and maybe not the back part, but just, I would always be posting those side views, so that you knew your girl had curves or whatever, or so that you knew your girl had quads and I worked hard and whatever, right? And I really didn't really feel convicted. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't feel any kind of way. Plus, at the same time, I went to a church where pants were acceptable, and that was towards the last year that I was still in Texas. So now I was, at this point, 3 years into 3 years into going, or well, being with the Lord, and I definitely feel convicted about covering. So I started wearing flannels, right? Like I said, I covered the back part, but I was still exposing my legs. Fast forward, I move here. I'm still wearing my leggings, okay? Because your girl, I'm not gonna, and I say that because I was already now at this point going to the church that I'm at now, and which, if you've heard the testimony, the church I'm at now really was a church that planted seeds, and I love my home church. I love the people there. I love just how the Lord is in that place. Anyways, that's not really the point, but the point here is I move here. I'm still wearing my leggings, okay? Your girl's still wearing her leggings, and I try to wear shirts that cover it, but sometimes I forget my flannels. Sometimes I do take it with me, and I'm kind of just inconsistent when it comes to my modesty. Now, at the time, the Lord was definitely working in different areas of my heart, which this is something that's super important to know because, sometimes we can look at people who are professing the Lord and we can be judgy and discount them because we're like, oh my goodness, like, okay, you're a Christian, because we're looking at what they're wearing and then we hear them professing the Lord and talking about God's goodness. And I'm going to say this from someone who, like, looking at someone else, who's doing that. Be careful not to judge them because you don't know what areas the Lord is working in them and what areas they're already giving up. And you just pray for them. You pray that the Lord touches them and that, like, if your concern is truly that big and you care that much that they grow in their modesty, pray for them. And I can honestly say the first year I was here, I was going through it. Okay. I had just lost my best friend. I had just left a toxic home environment. I felt like a failure. There was a lot of things in my heart and that I had not processed. And I feel like at that point the Lord was just working in all those areas first because my heart and my mind were truly not okay. I was very much unwell. And I'm not saying that the modesty didn't matter, but it wasn't priority at that time in my journey. Anyways, moving forward, and it's crazy because if you know me and you've kept up with the podcast and you follow me from Instagram, you know that me and JoJo are roommates and we're besties, and she's always been a modesty girly. Well, at least ever since I moved here, she's always been, the Lord's been using her in that area to help others see that modesty can be amazing and that ultimately we are doing it for the Lord and it's worth it. And anyways, imagine I'm living with her, but your girl, I don't know. I'm not the kind of person who just does things because other people are doing it. So as much as, Joe was wearing her modest fits and everything, your girl did not care. I was just like, I'm not going to do it just because you're doing it. And it's funny because I had all these thoughts, and I still wore my little flannel that first year. And it's crazy because then it got to a point where I would forget it and then I would feel convicted. And I would be like, dang it, I need to go home to get a flannel. Like, I can no longer be like, oops, I forgot it, too bad. Like, I started to feel convicted about that. And it's interesting because imagine your girl's still wearing her leggings. My legs are still super exposed, and and I just want to say something before I keep going. This is my modesty journey and my own personal convictions. I don't want anybody to hear this and feel like I'm trying to attack them or feel like I'm trying to call you out or make you feel like I'm trying to preach this as commandments of God. I want to make sure you girls know this is my own personal convictions, my own personal walk with the Lord. So I just want to say that because, unfortunately, we have to say things like that because then, I could get a DM and people will tell me, hey, God can still use someone who wears this and like, this is my personal walk. Okay. So I just wanted to make sure I say that before I keep going and with every little detail that I'm giving y'all so that, you don't feel like I'm trying to discount or discredit anybody out there who's still doing some of the things I used to do. Like, no, that's not the point of this. The point is I'm just sharing my journey on all little things and how the Lord's tugged at my heart. And maybe you're going through a similar situation where you feel like the Lord's tugging at your heart. So ultimately this is to serve as encouragement and even maybe open your mind to how the Lord works, right? And he works in mysterious ways. So first year I'm here, slowly I'm healing internally. Second year I'm here, the Lord's like, can't forget that flannel. That flannel is a mandatory now. So I'm wearing the flannel now. So I'm like, okay, fine, no excuses. Move on. Second year I'm here, I start following a bunch of Muslim girls on Instagram, a lot of like fitness Muslim girls. And it's crazy because I'm looking at their content and I kid you not, I'm scrolling through their content And one day the Lord is just so loud in my mind. And keep in mind, these Muslim girls wear super oversized gym outfits. They cover up. They wear long sleeves. They cover, I mean, they cover up very well. And they also, are modest in the angles that they pose and everything. And I'm admiring it. But, I'm still wearing my leggings because your girl still got to show her quads. Like, come on. Like, I still got to show my muscles. Like, what you talking about? Anyways, one day I'm scrolling. The Lord is like, Rebecca, isn't that so awesome how they dress? And I was just like, yeah, like they're so like that's so awesome. And he's like, and you know what's crazy, Rebecca? And I'm just like, yes, Lord. They're doing it for a false god. Like they do that for their God, and they do it because they love their God and they want to honor their God. So they give up their not freedom, but they give up their want to maybe flex and show off their muscles and show off their legs and show off their curves because they love their God that much. And at this point, I get what the Lord's trying to tell me. And I'm just like, I hear you. I hear you. And at this point, I'm just like, dang, and I serve the true and living God. And it's like, and the Lord's, he's saying, like, if they're doing it for a false God, you serve a real God. You serve the living, true God. So now at this point, I know what that means. The Lord is calling me now to let go of these leggings where I'm always showing off the side pose and people can tell how big my legs are and the quads and everything, and having the shirts that are not really oversized. And I don't know, at this point I'm just like, dang, okay, fine, no more quad pics, no more leg pics, no more. And now I'm moving forward, and now I'm just like, okay, I guess I'm gonna start wearing joggers so that I have something that's super oversized and you can't tell what my legs look like. So I start wearing these oversized clothes, and that eventually becomes this whole process where I'm letting go of the leggings only look, and I'm wearing oversized outfits. And I start ordering a bunch of oversized outfits. I get some super oversized shirts that are long. And eventually, I kind of start to enjoy this look because now I don't know, I guess I started feeling cool, low key, high key. Because I'm just like, ooh, I got this like little ninja look going on. So, your girl started wearing the outfits like that, like a little ninja. And I was like, I feel so cool. I feel like I got a little bit of swagger. With my J's and my matching sweats, bet, matching hat, say less. I'm looking pretty cool. Like, and now it's crazy, right? Because imagine like, and I did that for about a year, and I felt good. Like I felt like, okay, everything's super big. You really can't tell about my curves. And then it's crazy because if you know my testimony, the Lord set me free from a lifestyle and confusion and wanting to be a guy, low key, high key. And it's crazy because I start wearing my gym fits, and eventually my oversized t-shirts do start become a little bit more short because I want the fits to look cool. And I'm starting to kind of feel like I don't want to wear the oversized shirt that looks like a dress. So the fits are still oversized, but now at this point it's more tomboyish, more, even. I don't have those shirts that all the way down. And I'm wearing my J's, and I'm looking at the pictures, and the Lord, I start leaving the gym and I start feeling convicted. And it's crazy because at this point I'm wearing bigger clothes, right? And your girl starts feeling convicted. And now it's for a different reason, but the same thing. The Lord starts to convict me that girls are looking at me, and some say, wow, she's wearing super big clothes. She looks comfy, whatever, right? Oh, it's modest. If they some are thinking like that. But then on the other hand, some girls are looking at me and they think I'm gay. And I'm just like, in my mind, the Lord's telling me this, but I'm just like, no, that's just me. I'm just overthinking. Like, I'm trying to ignore it. Like, no. I'm not doing that though. In my mind, I'm just like, but that I'm not doing that. Like, the Lord set me free from that. Like, I know the work that the Lord's done in my mind. Like, I've been transformed so that's not my intention at all, you know? And at this point, it was the end of the first year of me already doing this for a while. And throughout the whole beginning time, I didn't feel that way. But towards the end time, I definitely started feeling like, dang, like it would happen again. And then I would feel like the Lord telling me, Rebecca, somebody looked at you and they were interested. Like they think you're bi or you're gay. Like they are looking at you and they're lusting after you. And then I'm over here still trying to ignore it because I'm just like, no, like the intention was never to, I want to look like a guy so girls fall in love with me, you know, like that was never my intention. My intention was I want to wear oversized outfits so that nobody looks at my body or can tell what my legs look like. And then the Lord just started showing me how the enemy is a deceiver and how he will do whatever he can to sneak in, to find a way to bring confusion back to my life. And it's so interesting because I could feel it. Like spiritually, I could feel it. Like not to over ritualize everything, but I guess it's just a reality that as much as we want to say that clothes doesn't matter, it does. As much as a girl can say, well, they just shouldn't look at me if I'm wearing this bikini or if I'm wearing this tight clothes and it's showing all my, like, as much as we can say, as much as I could have said, hey, well, these girls should just not look at me and just stop lusting. The reality of the world we live in is that there is sin, period. Okay, as much as people shouldn't look at you with lust, and as much as people should mind their business, and as much as people should honor God themselves and stop looking at people like that, we don't live in a world where everybody has pure hearts and pure minds. Matter of fact, there's people who are Christian who are battling that battle every day and who are trying their best to overcome, right? And if we love our neighbor, and it's interesting because I'm gonna move forward, right? So I'm wearing these things. I'm feeling convicted. I'm trying to ignore it. Eventually, it gets to like November, December. The Lord tells me, Rebecca, I need you to like remove a couple posts, a lot of posts from your Instagram. And keep in mind, these are posts with me in my sweats. And I'm just like, okay, Lord, like I hear you loud and clear. So I'm just thinking He wants me to delete posts so that I don't know. I guess people can't see them on Instagram. So I remove them. Like that's a done deal. And then we get to February and there's this sister at the church that I was talking to who was asking me for advice and I was helping her, and it had nothing to do with modesty. It had to do with other things that were going on in her life. And I was giving her, I was just talking to her, and we ended the call, we ended the conversation, and the Lord immediately convicted me and was like, Rebecca, as much as you think it doesn't matter what you wear, and this is crazy, y'all, me and the sister had no conversation about modesty, but the Lord brings it up immediately after. And the Lord was like, as much as you don't think that people are looking at you, as much as you don't think you're called to be an example, or even think that there is an example that has to be held when it comes to your modesty, especially, or not especially, but at the gym, because I would wear dresses and skirts everywhere else, but it's just this gym area was one of those areas in my life where I was not wearing dresses or skirts. And the Lord just started convicting me. He was just like, Rebecca, as much as you don't think it doesn't matter, as much as you're like, I'm wearing comfy fits, I'm wearing oversized fits, not only are people at the gym confused, or some of those girls are confused and think that you're open in that area, and maybe you're gay and you can they see you like that in a lustful way, but also there are people in the church and people who are looking at you and look at your Instagram, who are looking at you and they see that you love me and they see that you proclaim my goodness and they see how you talk about me and you're passionate and you love me, and they see that, but then they look at your outfits and they, not because they're evil people, but they're growing and they have areas they need to mature in, but they look at you and they're like, well, since Rebecca still wears pants and Rebecca still does this and Rebecca still does that, why can't I do it? God still uses her. And I was just like, dang, I didn't think of it like that either. Dang. So the Lord starts to just convict me about what it means to be an example and what it means to lead as an older sister, right? And I feel like the Lord's given me a lot of little sisters at my church. So it's crazy because for a while I was just like, I'm just a girl. Like I'm just a girl. I didn't see myself as needing to be an example in a way. Not that I don't care to respect and have, honor God's standard, but I don't know, I guess I'm just like living my life, so you forget. And I feel like every single one of us as believers and Christians, we're called to be an example. It doesn't matter if you don't have a podcast, doesn't matter if you don't have an Instagram. Like, it matters to where God has you, right? We are set to be the example. So in this area of my life, I was just like, dang, I didn't think it mattered that much. But the Lord just started convicting me that not only is it causing confusion for girls at the gym, right? But it's also causing confusion for my sisters in the Lord who are growing, and maybe still think this way. So at this point, I know I'm hearing what I'm hearing. There is no thinking I'm thinking too much, Like, I know it really is the Lord telling me this. So I hear the Lord and I make a little notes and I'm like, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to be more feminine at the gym. I'm going to look like what I'm called to be, a woman of God. And I'm going to get these dresses. I'm going to get these skirts because I don't want to be a stumbling block, not only to those who are struggling with lust and confusion, but I also don't want to be a stumbling block to my sisters in the Lord who are also being called to modesty, but might use me to justify the reasons why they're not moving forward in obedience. So anyways, I make the list, I make the notes, and I forget about it because your girl did not want to do it low-key hikey, but also I didn't have money, so I was like, well, I don't have money to invest into all these dresses and they're expensive, and I truly didn't have the funds, so I just kind of put it there, and I was like, well, when I have the funds and I get it, I'll do it. Anyway, I move forward. Eventually, I don't do anything about it. We get to March. One day, I'm praying to the Lord, falling asleep. I asked the Lord to give me a dream, and it had nothing to do with modesty because your girl was not thinking about modesty, Like, that was like in the back burner at this point. And the Lord gives me a dream about the thing he called me to do that I've been neglecting. I wake up from the dream and I'm just like, okay, Lord, I get it. You're very clear on the things I need to be doing. So I started my next journey I don't know how to explain it. I guess this new chapter or whatever in my modesty journey where I'm now going to be wearing more dresses and skirts to the gym. And I just ask that y'all pray for me because honestly, this is not easy for me. I honestly do not like dresses and skirts. And I guess I really truly found I'll be so honest with y'all because I don't know how to be fake, but I guess a part of me still found identity in being a cool girl, and I guess it goes back to just me being a child wanting to be like my brothers, me wanting to be cool and strong, and not that there is anything wrong with those things, but I just feel like the enemy is a tempter and the enemy likes confusion and the enemy wants everybody to do me, right? And if it were up to me and I could do me, your girl would wear her cool fits all the time, and I wouldn't care that maybe somebody might think that I'm a dyke. Like, I wouldn't, because my outfits are cool, but the Lord is literally convicted me about it, and he's like, Rebecca, first of all, you're called to be a woman, and I want you to look like it, and this is a part of your flesh that also wants to hold on to this look, this cool look, which is more like a tomboy, guyish look, and I've called you to be a woman, and I want it to be obvious that you're a woman and you're modest. So I felt like that the Lord was really tugging at my heart in that way. And then also, right, like I said, he was tugging at my heart to love my neighbor. And if I love my neighbor, I'm not going to be a stumbling block, neither for the unbeliever who's struggling with lust or confusion, and neither for my sisters in the Lord who are on their own personal journeys, who might look at me to be an example. So it's crazy, y'all, because I kid y'all not, Nobody at my church has ever told me anything. Joanna has never told me anything about my outfits. Not one single person has ever sent me a DM, and told me like, isn't it weird you wear pants and you like love the Lord and you still wear your job? No one has ever told me anything. And it's crazy because you know what? I'm grateful for that, because I'm not doing it for anyone. And y'all want to know something funny that I would say? I would always be like, I would never wear skirts and dresses at the gym if like, I don't know, like, no, I would say I wouldn't want to do it for a guy. Like if a guy showed up in my life and he started telling me, hey, also by the way, you need to stop doing that, stop wearing those big oversized, I would be like, first of all, I don't live for you, I live for God, and God is okay with where I'm at now. And it's funny because I feel like the Lord knew that, and he was like, and I'm going to address it, Rebecca. And the Lord addressed it. So now it was like, dang, like I said, I wouldn't do it for anyone. And even doing it for the Lord was hard. Like moving into this next chapter has been hard. But, I want to honor the Lord with everything I do. And I don't want to quench the spirit. Like if the Lord wants me to give this area of my life up, then it is what it is. And as much as my flesh doesn't like it because of whatever reason, and I would love to justify it and be like, well, I'm still being modest and I'm free and I don't think that way anymore. At the end of the day, the Lord's not asking me to do an inventory of reasons why maybe I could keep it. He's asking me to do something, and he's been kind enough and patient enough to explain it to me. And he doesn't have to do that because he is the Lord of Lords. He is a Lord in my life, not just my Savior. So I'm called to obedience, and I thank him because he really didn't have to explain it, but he did. So this is where I'm at in my modesty journey. I truly ask for your prayers because I know it might seem silly to some of y'all that I'm asking for prayer for this, but I really do need it. Y'all don't understand. I actually cried about it because I was like, dang, I felt like I had just found my outfit, for the gym that I really liked. Now the Lord has asked me to give that up. So here we are, living sacrifice. I don't know, there's a song that even goes like that, but yep, this is one of those areas that I feel like the Lord has asked me to grow in. And I'm just grateful for the Lord still speaking to me, and I don't want to be someone that he asks things from and I ignore him. I felt so bad because I was like, you kept telling me and I kept trying to ignore it, and like, forgive me, Lord, because that wasn't right. And help me to overcome, because of course the flesh is going to want to ignore, because it knew, like my flesh knew that was something that I really almost even found a bit of identity in, and that old man was low-key still enjoying, even though maybe my thoughts weren't in that direction. A part of me was like, I look cool and I love it. And the pride, of wanting to be seen, and the Lord called me to modesty, and honestly, modesty is being unassuming. And I just want to be exactly what the Lord wants me to be, and obviously these are convictions that the Lord placed in my heart. And I just wanted to give you like a little story time of like, I guess, the step by step that God took me through. Because imagine, like, the Lord saved me and your girl wore her leggings and showed off her butt for like the first 3 years. And now here we are. Your girl is this week. She started wearing dresses and skirts, and I don't like it, but we're doing it because we love God. So I hope this serves as an encouragement, and I hope if anyone's in a similar journey right now where you feel the Lord is asking you to move forward to the next thing or next level or next step in this area of your life, be encouraged. You're not crazy for not wanting it and always being hype about the things the Lord's asking you to give up. You're not crazy because you're not like all the other girlies who are they just make it look so fun and aesthetic and cute. You're not crazy. Like, honestly, this is one of those areas that we have to surrender to the Lord because our flesh wants to do what it wants to do, and that's just the reality. So I hope this episode served as an encouragement, maybe sparked some ideas in your mind of maybe does where you might pray now and ask the Lord if he cares about where you're at with your modesty journey. If there's any areas in your life and you're dress that he would like for you to change, and just ultimately always doing things for the Lord. Like I said, nobody told me anything. It was truly the Lord working with my heart, and let the Lord work with your heart. Be sensitive to his spirit. Be sensitive to what he wants from you. Don't quench the spirit. We are called to a higher standard, and as much as sometimes we feel like, well, the Lord will still love me, the Lord still has grace, and the Lord still uses me, you know, yes, those things can be very true. The Lord can still use us. The Lord does have grace for us. The Lord doesn't look at the outer, but he looks at both. He looks at the inner and the outer. Oh my goodness. So it's like we can't act like it doesn't matter what we look like or what we dress like. We really can't. And he is patient. He will address the inside a lot of the times before he gets to the outside, but he does care about what we wear. And there's verses in the Bible that talk about how a woman ought to adorn herself. And of course, we're not living in back in the days, but we're still called to a standard of modesty. And that's being unassuming. And that's not being a stumbling block to your brother and sister. Because the Lord calls us to love him first and foremost with all of our being. And then second, he calls us to love our neighbor. So we can't even act like it doesn't matter what we do because my neighbor shouldn't even be affected. The Lord calls you to love your neighbor. And sometimes you love your neighbor by obeying the Lord in your modesty journey. So that's all I have to say for today. I could keep going, but I don't want to make this a long one. So I hope this was encouraging. If you enjoyed the podcast episode, leave a 5-star review, leave a comment, share it on your stories, tag me. My Instagram is It's Becca Cast. Tag Joanna. Joanna has a great Instagram page that gives you a lot of modesty inspo. So follow her. And her Instagram page is I'm Joanna Sosa. So girls, that's it for today. I'll talk to you girls in the next episode. Bye.